Hello and welcome back to Random Talk with NG. I wonder what went on in your head when you saw this topic. Did our parents really try? And I wonder what my parents will be thinking when they see this topic. Did our parents really try? Oh well, today we're tackling a big, bold, and maybe slightly dangerous question. Did our parents really try? Now, some of us will say, of course, they gave up everything for us. Others will whisper, they tried, but they also messed up, Sha. So today, we're going to laugh, reflect, and maybe even heal a little as we talk about the sacrifices our parents made, the mistakes they passed on, and the funny, unforgettable moment of being raised by them, especially African parents. Because let's be very honest, our parents were a whole vibe. They are still a whole vibe, even as they age graciously. And whether you love them, question them, or both, one thing is clear: they shaped us, they made us who we are today. Do you want to talk about parents without talking about the sacrifices they make? And the interesting part is, while some of us still have our parents alive, some of us have also become parents. So when you're thinking, did our parents really try? Ask yourself, when your child grows up, what would they think? That did my mother, did my father really try? So with regards to sacrifice, parents grew up in tough times, very tough times. Unstable economies, even though we are facing worse, fewer opportunities, political chaos. Many of them gave up personal dreams just so we could go to school, eat well, or live better. Some of them lived through the wars that they had experienced. And maybe your dad worked jobs he didn't love just to pay school fees. Maybe your mom wore the same old wrapper while making sure you had new clothes for Christmas. They may not have had everything, but they gave what they could. Our parents' love is whole, no matter how many times divided. I had a conversation with a friend of mine a few Sundays ago when we were talking about parents, and then he went on to say, I just realized that my dad did his best with the means he had. He made sure that we became everything and much more with what he had at the time. Now, when you're done thinking about the sacrifices, please think about the missed opportunities. They tried, yes, but they were also limited by culture, by lack of awareness, for some by their own trauma. Back then, mental health wasn't a thing. Emotional conversations, highly non-existent in many homes. Some parents thought silence or beating was discipline. Well, others thought that providing food and school fees was equal to parenting, and emotional needs often got ignored. Have you ever sat to think that maybe they did their best with the tools they had, but sometimes the scars remain? We're not only products of our parents, but also of the times they lived in. The times they lived in limited them in the amount of emotional connection they have, or the level of emotional connection, how they are able to parent differently. That is why their generation did their own parenting the best way they could, the best way they learned. Some of our parents are unlearning, they are relearning, and they are seeing that, there are better ways to do this parenting thing. Think about the generational gap. The world changed faster than they did. They prepared us for their world and not always ours. Most of them did not ever think that technology was going to come and be a thing, AI and all whatnot. Most times you hear stuff like, read your books and you'll be successful. I'm not saying education is not useful, but today's success transcends beyond just reading. Today, success needs networking, creativity, tech skills, and all whatnot. Another thing they would say is, stay in one job forever. That is why many of them were able to go through 35 years of, active service, 35 years doing one particular thing, working with one company. But today, job hopping is strategy. If you know, you know. Parents who thought computers were distractions Now, today, they've come to realize the biggest money is in tech. George Orwell said, every generation imagines itself to be more intelligent than the one before it and wiser than the one that comes after it. Think about it. There are some things that, you would want to tell your child, and then you'll be saying, I am wiser than you. Okay. Every generation imagines itself to be more intelligent than the one before it and wiser than the one that comes after it. Let me not talk too much about the love versus the lack. Some parents showed love through provision. Others never said, I love you. The same way, or let me say, African parents could buy you food, pay fees, but never hug you. If they did, it felt like a rare eclipse. There are some homes and houses that never experience the hugging, the I love you, I miss you. No, for those who can relate, try telling your parents that I miss you. Let's know what the response would be. Or say I love you. Some would even ask you if you're dying. But it's very interesting when you see them or you hear them tell their grandchildren, I love you, I miss you, I can't wait to see you. Like, you'd not tell me, but let's leave it like that. The African parents' version of I love you can be equated to have you eaten or bring me the remote. Well, in all fairness, they loved in the language they knew, but sometimes not in the language we needed. Dear listeners, how did your parents show love? And what do you wish they did differently? Love is not always spoken. Sometimes it is cooked into the stew. Hey, teenage me remembers. I remember how, as a teenager, I think it was about to be my 14th or 15th birthday. I can't remember. And everybody was giddy about my birthday. But my dad had not said anything. I mean, he wasn't in Lagos at the time. He was away for work. And I was wondering that, won't I hear happy birthday in advance, like a week to the time, 2 days? And I'm like, I hope my dad has not forgotten my birthday. Thanks be to God. I think it was 2 days to my birthday. And when I spoke with him, I said, Daddy, you have not said anything about my birthday. I hope you have not forgotten. My dad said, today is not your birthday now. Your birthday is on Saturday. And how do you think that I would forget your birthday? Have you forgotten that I am your father? You were born on a Saturday at this time, and then this was the circumstances surrounding your birth. I was like, wow. And he said, I remember. And interestingly, he remembered because my gift even came earlier. My gifts came, I think it was an hour after we had that call. So maybe if I was more patient, I would have seen that he definitely remembered my birthday. Love is not always spoken, truly. Sometimes it's cooked into the stew. Now, let's move to the light-hearted truths. Let's laugh a little. African parents are different. I don't want to say way. Our African parents, they are different. There are some sayings we all know, right? When I was your age, and they would always follow it up with a hardship story. I really need to ask my parents if their parents also told them that, maybe in our native language, right? Then you would hear stuff like, do I look like your mate? You would hear things like, as per age mates now. Someone said, this is not a democracy. And then maybe when you ask that, Mommy, why can't I go for this church meeting by this time of the day? The response will come, because I said so. Of course they said so. Other things you would hear would be, money does not grow on trees. Hey. Or, where can I put it? Put it on my head. Or you would hear things like, if you like, cry from now till tomorrow. It won't kill me. Or, cry from now till tomorrow. You're not going out. Or you come back home by past 6 and you hear stuff like, better go back to where you are coming from. Hey. Oh my goodness. Or, when I talk, you don't talk. Those are some of the sayings we all know, and then most people will be like, are you sure all our parents were not in the same WhatsApp group? Or are you sure they did not train up in the same school? Or are you sure they were not all made from, the same, complete it yourself? And there are some other sayings that you can think about, which is very common. But here are some funny realities. You dare not change the TV channel while they are napping, even though they are sleeping. It's still their program. If you misbehaved in public, you would get the look. We all know that look. Even some of us that have become parents, we are also giving our children that look. And that look that meant that you were finished when you got home. Some of them believed that beating could cure everything. Lying, laziness, even poor math grades. They may not have been emotionally expressive, but they trained us with sayings that are now part of our DNA. When siblings get together to talk about things and then they start reminiscing, do you remember when mommy did this? Every single time I want to be dramatic at home, there is always a particular Saturday morning expression, when it comes to prayer that we reminisce. And once I start it, all my siblings remember. Even my mom remembers. My dad was away for work, but when he came back, we relayed the story to him. And so once I just start, everybody gets in tune and in character because people begin to play their part well. Well, that's what makes our parents the life of the party when it comes to indoor gatherings, right? Because they are able to crack jokes, tell us things, Did our parents really try? Yes, they did. As a growing child, I remember that I learned to sing all the Latin hymns that are sung at Mass from my mom. Would carry hymn book days where maybe there was no light or we're just, waiting out till it was time to sleep. And then she would just start singing and put us through. My parents, I learned from them how to be a great lector, to take the readings in church. I learned from them how to pray. Even when I prayed amiss, they corrected me. I learned from them how to be studious, how to be responsible. Ask yourself, did your parents really try? Because before I started recording this, I asked myself, did my parents really try? And the response I gave myself was, they tried, they over-tried, and they are still trying. Guess what? In one of my episodes, I talked about the seasons of life. And now it's our turn, right? That's the cycle. It's easy to point fingers, but will our children one day ask, did we really try? Parenting has no manual. Maybe our parents got some things wrong, but they also built resilience in us. Can we keep the good? By good, I mean, discipline, resilience, sacrifice, but improve on the gaps. By gaps, I mean, communication, emotional support. We do the best we can with what we know. And when we know better, we do better. Maya Angelou. By now, you should know that I love infusing quotes in my episodes because it helps to drive the point home. So did our parents really try? Yes. In their own ways, they did. Sometimes they got it right, sometimes not. They gave what they had, even if it wasn't always what we needed. But maybe the bigger takeaway is this: we can honor their efforts, forgive their shortcomings, and commit to doing better for the next generation. Because one day, our kids will also sit down and ask the same question about us. Thank you for joining me for this heartfelt conversation on Random Talk with NG. I hope it made you reflect. I hope the African parent sayings made you laugh and maybe even see your parents with softer eyes as you reflect on how people would ask the same question about you. So I'd love to hear your stories. Did your parents really try? Share with me on Instagram and TikTok at Random Talk with NG or by email at randomtalkwithng@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, listen to my previous episodes, and remember, parents aren't perfect and neither will we be, but every generation has a chance to try harder. And until next time, I can't wait for you to listen to me again.